All right, everyone. Last looks. Quiet on set. Roll sound. Sound speed. Roll camera. Camera speed. Scene 1. Take 1. Market. And action. Hi, I'm Ed, the host of Savannah on Film, and we explore the economic and cultural impact and values of the film industry in Savannah through conversations with people who work in the industry and related fields. You can find us here on WRUU-LP, Savannah, Georgia, 107.5 FM, WRUU.org. We are Savannah Soundings, community radio with global soul. Hello, Savannah. Hello, the world. Welcome to another brand new episode of Savannah on Film. I'm your host, Ed Ciucevich, and our purpose here is to explore the economic and cultural impact of the film industry in Savannah and surrounding areas through conversations with people who work in the industry and related fields. Now, if you're watching this program or listening to it on WRUU 107.5 FM in Savannah, WRUU.org, Savannah Soundings Community Radio with Global Soul, then last week you heard a encore episode of my guest today, and this is a brand new episode. And so one of the ways I'm bringing in 2021 is by talking to one of my favorite actors / actress. Yay. I have an applause here somewhere. I can applause. I can do it. But she really needs no introduction, so I'm going to keep it short. But this is Langley Cornwell, and welcome back to Savannah on Film.
Hi. Thank you, Ed. Good to see you.
It's always great to see you. It's always wonderful to talk with you. I learned so much. You are in the Southeast, as far as I know, and definitely in my mind, you are one of my favorite actresses. You have always been, probably always will be. I love the caliber and the range of what you can do in acting. And
wow, Ed, thank you so much.
Yeah, I'm usually just, giving you a bunch of accolades and all that, but they're well deserved. And I really am excited to have you back on the show. You've done so much, and we're going to touch on some things. Of course, we're going to talk about the elephant that won't leave the room, COVID-19,
right?
2021 at this point. And I just implore everyone to personally to wear your mask, stay safe, take care of those, your family, your friends, your loved ones. Cherish all of those precious moments, because we never know when those moments will pass us by. So
amen to that, Ed, 100%.
Yes. And part of being in the film industry is being thankful, being very appreciative for new roles. We're going to talk about it during this interview. We're going to talk about how 2020 has changed acting, how it's changed casting, how the self-taping of auditions, how that's become a thing, in different aspects of it. And Langley's going to share her knowledge and story of how she's gotten through 2020 and how she's continued to thrive and do wonderful things. But just real quick, just a small bit of background on Langley, and please chime in anywhere. Langley, you are theatrically trained, and I love what it says on your IMDb. So you may want to check out Langley on IMDb. It's IMDb me/Langley Cornwell.
Right.
Correct. Okay.
IMDb.me/Langley Cornwell.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mhm.
Um, I usually get things wrong, and I have one too. So
No, 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 no. It's not about that.
no,
No.
it's not about that. We want to get it right. It's all about accuracy. It's about getting it right.
There you go.
And so I want people to find you on IMDb
Thank you.
and check you out there. Some of the your filmography, but Langley plays. It says here, self-assured, educated, stylish women, often with unexpected secrets, and that is so very perfectly this descriptive of the roles that you play. And you're not just the sophisticated and intelligent woman of years. you know I don't know how to say that nicely.
No, I'm a woman of a certain age. Of course I am.
I am too. I turned 50 during the pandemic. I'll be turning 51 soon, and I'm like, oh my gosh, people call me sir, and I'm still looking around like, who are they talking to? Oh,
Honey, I've lapped you so much.
I don't know how you 20-year-olds do it. I really don't,
Oh,
Langley.
God.
But but we talked before. One of the episodes that you were on here on Savannah on Film, we touched on. It was during the Me Too movement when it was
Mhm.
really gaining momentum, and we talked about uh, related to that. We talked about ageism
Right.
and how some people are pigeonholed. I don't want to say the word blacklisted, but like pigeonholed into certain roles because, oh yes, of course they fit that demographic, but you're one of those actors out there that can play younger roles. You can play different roles. I've seen some roles where you look very gritty, and I mean that with
Oh,
the
yeah,
utmost
yeah, yeah.
respect.
No, I like it. No, please. I mean, I love the
I do
hillbilly,
too.
gritty, trailer trash. I love those roles, those big characters. I don't get to play those as often as I would like, but I really love the challenge of that.
And just a side note, when we say trailer trash, we mean that affectionately. We're not saying
Absolutely.
yes,
That's high praise. I
yes,
love
yes.
that. Yeah.
You know, good salt of the earth people,
Mhm.
and your roles are you play them authentically, and how do you get into your characters? I mean, I know it's different for each project, but what is your process when
Mm.
you're preparing for a given role?
Yeah, that's a great question. I am a big advocate of reading the material over and over and over without making character choices. Just reading the material, understanding the writer's point of view, and just really feeling, as I'm reading it, feeling the environment and just imagining, taking the flat piece of paper and imagining the whole world around it,
Right.
but not thinking about exactly how I would play it. I try to remove myself out of the equation and just understand all of the information. And once I feel like I have a really good mental picture of the surroundings and the environment and the tone and the mood and all of that stuff, then I start figuring what my character's goal is in the scene. Like
Okay.
what is my part of the story that I'm trying to tell? What is the information that I'm trying to put forth?
Really kind of
And
get inside the skin of that character.
yeah, yeah. And then I'm telling you, as an actor, every actor has their strengths and weaknesses, but I have always been a real student of human nature. I've really loved that, and
Mhm.
I really like relating to people in real life. Like I'm an extreme introvert, but but when I'm talking one-on-one with somebody, I like to cut to the chase. I don't like to small talk. And so I feel like because of that, maybe characterization or feeling the feelings of the character
Mm-hmm.
is one of my strengths. It comes fairly naturally to me. And when I feel what the character feels, then I feel like it's incumbent upon me to then be able to communicate that authentically and honor the character that
Do
I'm
you,
playing.
do you have to? I think you kind of touched on this, but you have to. Do you have to separate your own preconceived notions about this character? Like maybe the first time you read it, maybe you read the character a certain way, and then maybe when you get to actually portraying them on a scene, does it change for you, or
That's
does
a,
it?
that's a great question. I know that I never judge the character, and I've played some really despicable people, and then I've also played some very lovely, beautiful people. And I personally have felt a kinship with all of them. And I think, no, I know that I do not judge the character. And I know that I always feel like, unless you're playing a flat out sociopath, I always feel like there are circumstances and life experiences and, a backstory um, that informs the choices that this character makes at that given time. And I usually feel like they're doing the best they can with what they're given
In
at
this
that specific
situation?
time.
Yeah, yeah, because you have to. I think it shows on screen when an actor isn't really feeling the character. They haven't really got into the depths of the
Mm-hmm.
soul of that character and their motivations. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, most actors do, but you can tell when they're not, when they're just
Yeah.
kind of phoning it in. It feels that way at least.
Mm-hmm.
And
I
is
agree
there,
with you. And I was just recently watching something, and I'm not going to name names, but a really good, highly rated show. And there was one actor that I usually think is pretty good. And I could tell that there was just no association with this character they were playing whatsoever. It was flat as a board. And
wow.
I'm not usually very judgy about that kind of thing.
Mhm.
But I just was like, wow, that I wonder what's going on. What's happening there?
Yeah, you wonder if that actor did their complete homework on that character
Yeah,
understanding.
I have no idea, but I know it happens to everybody occasionally. So really, I'm not trying to judge, but it
Right.
just goes to show that everybody can be good on any given day, and everybody can be not. So everybody has good days and bad days.
Bad days. Has there been one character you've played that has really resonated with you, whether in a good way or a bad way, a character that just wouldn't leave you after the production had wrapped? Does that make sense?
Yeah, sure, it makes good sense. I'm a I Yeah, sure. There's one character that I truly love, and in real life, I'm just a nut, like silly, like
Yeah.
ridiculous. And so I have a character, and it's a recurring role, fortunately, and she is a therapist, which I like because I like relating to people one on one,
Right.
as I mentioned, um, and I like helping people find the best parts of themselves, and seeing themselves at, through the glorious eyes that I have for them.
Hmm.
Um, and so this character, she does that, but she's a nut, and she's really ridiculous, but she plays it all so straight. Like, she takes herself so seriously, and she's so earnest and sincere,
Hmm.
but she is ridiculous. And and she gets herself into the most wacky sets of circumstances.
Are, are
And
are you allowed to say who the
it's
character
the
is?
Urbans, and I'm a series regular, and the name of the character is Dr. Laura Laney, and she's just a nut, and I just that's my favorite character
Okay.
for a lot of reasons, and also the filmmakers are just a delight, the set. And speaking of, I know in your intro you talked about COVID. It's one of the few sets that I have been on since COVID.
Right.
And yeah, and that's a whole new set of circumstances.
Well, let's kind of that's a great lead into one of the questions that I know we have to talk about. So, how was the acting your acting experience changed? Like the whole world was changed radically,
Yeah,
obviously, during 2020, and we're into 2021. Um, Basically, I guess when this airs, it'll be February.
yeah.
So we're already a month in to
Mhm.
2021, and we're still dealing with a pandemic that we were dealing with last year.
Right.
And so, as an actor, from your experience, how has it changed over since like 2019?
Yeah,
We look back. That seems like decades ago. I don't know about you, but that's what it feels like to me.
for sure. Me too.
So what's your experience? How has it changed as an actor, preparing and actually acting, doing the
Yeah. Well, regarding self tapes, because everything is self tapes now, I took a guest room in our house and turned it into a studio.
oh, there you go.
Yeah. And because, well, I mean, and frankly, for me, and thank you to my agents and my team, but my auditions have not slowed down. Now, there was a period like March, April, May, June, July, like the first,
The
I'd say
world
maybe
stopped spinning. Yeah,
the first and second quarter of 2020. Yeah, we were all on a cold start, like nothing happened. But I do feel like production, once it ramped back up and it figured out, and thank you, Tyler Perry, for kind of
definitely.
leading the charge for all of that. But once all of that happened, I feel like a lot of the streaming services and a lot of people were hungry for new material, new production. So once they ramped up, then suddenly it's like the floodgates have opened, which is another reason it was good to do the studio here because, I've had to turn out a lot of tapes. And so that's
Right.
been good. It's like we were talking when we were setting up. You're a sound guy.
Yeah. Not,
Yeah.
not the
And,
not the video guy, but the
yeah,
sound
so
guy.
we were talking about video and I have become like a lighting girl. Who knew,
You,
but
you you were coaching me on some of my lighting before this, and I'm still fiddling around with it because I have a usual setup and uh you were actually you were giving me some great pointers in it, and I think it worked out much better
it
than
looks
what I had.
good. Yeah, no, it looks good. But yeah, you just have to learn what you have to learn. And I often say actors have to be, technical professionals. You have to be, have a good prowess on your computer and everything, uploading videos, downloading videos, editing,
You have to have a
sound,
good computer to be able to do all that too.
for
Yeah,
sure, for sure. Good camera, good lights. But anyway, so yeah, so I've invested in some of that stuff. That was COVID inspired and all good. And it's all good. And I will say, and I truly believe this, the Southeast, we were doing self tapes anyway for a long
because the industry had to come. It wasn't here,
time. Right. That's
so
right. That's
going
exactly
going
right.
back, yeah,
So we were having to do self tapes. So it's not completely foreign to me, but I didn't have a studio here. Um,
right.
but I do feel like now we have an advantage over, say, New York or LA, and they're just coming up to speed. There's so much you can talk about with COVID. One of the things that I have really seized upon and taken huge advantage of is training with teachers from all over the world, really, because everyone took their curriculum online to Zoom or FaceTime or all of the other platforms,
Very true.
Instagram
Yeah.
Live, Twitch, whatever. And boy, I'm telling you, I was like drinking out of a fire hose. I was voracious. I was taken with teachers that I only dreamed of taking with previously. And so that has been like such a silver lining. That has been fabulous. But a lot of that time was spent with the LA and the New York coaches talking about self tapes. And I'm thinking, dude, we are this is old news to us. And not that I can't learn more,
Right.
always learn more, but it was interesting how remedial they were about self tapes and the whole uploading was freaking them out and everything. And
Well,
so,
I've had a famous casting director on here, Chad Darnell, and he absolutely hates the self taping. He prefers the in person.
yes, he does. Yeah.
And he's given his reasons for that, and I
Mhm.
totally understand that. But
Me too.
in desperate times, even he understood. We have to go to this self taping thing, and 2020 for me was about learning technology. I've learned Zoom.
Mhm.
I've learned about lighting a little bit. I've learned more about video and realized I needed to up my game in that situation. And so, even losing ones close to me, and family, and I have film friends who've lost so many people to COVID, and just lost people in general. But um even though it was a emotionally traumatic time for all of us,
Sure.
2020, I personally know that I gained some skills, and going into 2021, I can't talk about it, but I'm working on something within the industry, but in a totally different area
Uh-oh.
of
We're
the
gonna
industry.
have to stay online when this thing shuts down so I can hear the scoop.
Oh, well, I would love to tell you, but
Ah, there's the but.
there's the NDA, so can't
Ah,
say anything. So,
too bad. Okay,
um,
well, I'll keep my eyes open then, Ed.
yeah, yeah. Always keep your eyes open.
I
But,
do.
but my point being that I've personally learned I've learned so much,
Mhm.
and do you feel that like these trying times have really obviously they've taught you the self taping, help you
Sure.
get a better setup, and we all are tech. We are all are having to embrace technology
Mhm.
now. How has that helped you? How has it hindered? Is
Mm,
there a
that's interesting. I would say again how blessed I feel to be able to take classes and real classes, like small classes with individual training or even privates with teachers that before I would only dream of being able to take with. So that for me, everybody, all the teachers having to and coaches having to learn how to take their skills and bring it online and offer it to a wider range of people. That's been a blessing. Also, all the technical advances. That's been great. Um, I I've done, I've worked a pretty steady bit during COVID. I've done 3 commercials and I've done an episode of the Urbans. And I feel like in all cases, it has been a scaled down crew. And we have always had the COVID compliance manager on set. We have stayed rigorous to the protocols. And it almost feels like, and I don't want to overstate this, but it almost feels like you're brothers in arms or something. I don't know. It just feels like you're drawing closer together because you're kind of working against all odds. I don't know if that makes sense, but I just feel
it
like,
totally makes sense.
yeah. So, I mean, I would definitely consider that a blessing. I'll tell you that, oh, and I did another small movie during COVID. So I've done 2 theatrical and 3 commercial things all during COVID. And in 2 of the cases,
Hmm.
I have been I've met new people, new scene partners, and done scenes with new people. And in both cases, I'm working with those people again.
Wow.
And
So
I've
you
been
kind of
asked to work with them again. And I think yeah, there's just that sense of brotherhood or like, charging
we
ahead
we
against
are.
insurmountable odds and all of that. And it just feels good, like a partnership.
I feel like it's enhancing what was already there because the film
Mm,
community is very tight, especially in the Savannah area.
sure.
And and the
Or the Southeast in general.
Southeast in general. I was going to
Yeah.
say, yeah, yeah, no, South Carolina, North Carolina, Georgia,
Atlanta. Yep.
Atlanta, and different places in this general region.
Mhm.
It is very close knit, and I agree with you. I feel like it's even more enhanced in the people that you're lucky enough to work with in a safe, um, uh, COVID. I almost said COVID
Compliant.
friendly. What's the proper
COVID
word?
compliant.
COVID. Thank you. COVID compliant.
Mhm.
Working on COVID compliant um, projects, whether they're commercial, they're film, TV, whatever. It really does add that extra layer because of not just protection, but I feel like where I'm working, I feel even closer than I think I would feel. I don't know. That's just me, but
No, it's
I
not
get
just
that.
you. That's what I'm noticing also. That's exactly what I'm saying. I think you're getting it.
I think, we went through a lot, even, and we're not going to go off on a political tangent at all here. This is not meant like that, but I know we went through a lot as a country. We went through a lot of social unrest in 2020. I feel like everyone at this point in 2021, my opinion, we ought to be coming together and just working really hard, um, to bring that closeness inward, and keep that sense of community with us in the productions that we're on, and 20 going through COVID. There were productions, people that, and I want to ask you this on because you've been in bigger projects, you've been in smaller projects. On some of the smaller projects, are you noticing the same level of consistency and eagerness for COVID safety?
I did a very small project,
Mhm.
and I was hesitant because of that. And they wanted me to play the lead role and the title character. And I had a serious talk with the production team and the director about my concerns because at the time my mother was alive and I was spending time, as much time as I could, with her. And no way in heck was I going to put myself in any kind of harm's way that would slow me down from spending time with my mother or my family, especially during that time. It
Yeah.
was absolutely my priority. And we, we, I was able to tell them what I was and wasn't comfortable with. And everybody was so willing, and we did it with a very scaled down crew, like a guerrilla crew, like I'm telling you. And we did a good production, and I felt comfortable the whole time. There was a small cast, and I, we had our little meeting beforehand, and I explained to them how I felt, and I was in every scene, and I told them, the importance of me staying safe and what it meant to me. And I feel like they did as well as any big project that I did. And then I did, like a big national commercial. We
Yeah.
had a big old crew, and I did that like a couple of weeks later. And I felt just as comfortable on the small scale as I did on the big one.
Well, my question, and this has been underlying talking about COVID through a lot of my shows in 2020 and say 2021, is generally speaking, 10% of a feature film's budget is going to COVID
Mhm.
preparation, or protection, and all that stuff.
Sure. Even the quarantining and the testing.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And my wonder was the very small productions, even like the student films,
Yeah.
would, of course, obviously they're ultra low budget or no budget or whatever, films. Are they being as safe? And I had someone tell me they thought one of the opinions was that they were being extra cautious because you know, literally it can stop, the production could be completely done over and done with, because especially when you're on, if you're on level of like a student film or something like that, you only have a certain amount of time to make that film,
Right,
and,
right.
and there's a lot of prep going into it, and there's a lot of actual filming, and you may lose your actors, their availability, and other things in life gets in the way. So you know it's good to know that everyone from the top of the industry to the other side of it are taking these protocols, and something to remember, maybe a good wise thing to say, I feel is, when that week ends and you get to your days off, your protocol doesn't drop. You
100%.
have
Absolutely.
you have to keep that level up, because you can't come back Monday from a maskless weekend, and who knows what you might have picked up, even with the strains that are coming out now that are supposedly even more contagious. um
Well,
so
I would also quickly say,
sure.
this is the way I feel about all sets. If
Hmm.
you feel at all unsafe at any time, walk
Very good
out
point.
or call your agent. I mean, do something.
Very good point.
Don't just be quiet and feel unsafe in any way.
It's encouraged in every production I've been involved with in recent memory. That is encouraged, and that
Mhm.
is good. That reassures you, no matter what your position is, that you can speak up. And
Absolutely.
if you feel unsafe, and it's not just COVID, but it's
No, not just COVID.
if
Yep.
it's if something feels shady, doesn't feel right, your gut's telling you something ain't right here,
Mhm.
something isn't right, then you need to get yourself out of that situation, or find a way to remedy it. So we are going to take a quick brief pause for a couple announcements here, very important here. And I'm here with this brand new interview with, I hate to say interview because it's more like a friendly conversation,
Right,
uh,
exactly.
with a brilliant actress, Langley Cornwell. She's one of my favorites, and I love to have her on the show. She's always got so much to tell us about. And we're going to talk about some more with Langley when we come back. And so um, stick around, and we'll be right back.
This is a message from the Georgia State Department of Public Health. Social distancing means minimizing contact with people. It also means that if you are near someone in public, try to stay at least 6 feet away. The less contact people have with one another means the less opportunity for the virus to spread. Slowing the spread of the virus means that we can keep our healthcare system from becoming overwhelmed. More information can be found at dph.georgia.gov. Disasters don't stop even during a pandemic. The Red Cross is here to help when disasters strike. They respond to a disaster every 8 minutes. They help people to prepare for disasters, and they help prevent disasters such as home fires. The Red Cross saves lives by providing blood. And now, free COVID 19 antibody testing is available when donating blood with the Red Cross. More information about Red Cross services and donating blood can be found at www.redcross.org.
WRUU listeners like you crave exploration and discovery. That's how we can offer your business or organization a unique way to separate your name from the clutter inherent in commercial radio advertising. Underwriting on non commercial WRUU will make your name stand out because we allow only a limited number of sponsorships per hour. And your message will be reaching listeners who are actively engaged in programs that demand their attention. Let our team build a customized plan to meet your marketing goals by linking your name to our unique music and talk programs. For more information, email underwriting@wruu.org.
You're listening to WRUULP, Savannah, Georgia, 107.5 FM, WRUU.org. We are Savannah Soundings, community radio with global soul.
And we are back here on the fantastic WRU 107.5 FM LP Savannah Soundings Community Radio with Global Soul. And a reminder that WRUU is on Twitter at WRUU1075. And just some programming notes. You're listening to this on WRUU, and if you're in Savannah, you're listening on 107.5 FM. You're listening on the internet at WRUU.org. we will have Saturday night, or as you're listening to this, if you're listening to it right now on the radio, I'm projecting in the future. You're listening right now. Okay, you're listening right now on WRU. Um, we are going to be Saturday night at Savannah on Film on YouTube, and we're going to have the video premiere of this. So you'll get to see this whole interview plus a little bit extra, and you'll be able to bring your comments and questions to Savannah on Film on YouTube, and Langley and myself will be there to answer your questions and your comments. And it's a lot of fun, and it's something we like to do here with Savannah on Film. And my guest, Langley Cornwell, she's an established actress. She is vastly talented. One of my all-time favorite actresses in this whole southeastern region of the country. And anytime she's working on something, I'm always interested to see what she's up to. And that's why we're bringing you this new show in 2021. So
Thank you, Ed.
thank you. Thank
That
you.
means a lot to me.
Thank you. So we've talked about that ugly thing called COVID-19, and we're going to be talking about it until it's over.
Mhm.
And everybody stay safe, wear your mask. I really hope you do. We've talked about how technology is going to affected all of that, but I want to get into some of the projects that we've mentioned, and some we can talk about. Now there's one in a project in development. I'm looking at IMDb where if you want to check out Langley, her body of work, you can see the productions that she's been involved with. Of course, she's been in a lot of commercials. And do you like the change of doing commercial work versus the film and TV stuff? I mean, they all have a different flavor, I guess.
Oh, big time. Yeah, 100%. I guess it'd be like eating an apple versus eating an orange. You know, I like fruit, but they taste so differently. Yeah, I do. I like them. I think they're fun. I think they are fun. And I like the quick turnaround. You know, you get in, you do your work, you get out. And yeah, no, I do. I like them a lot. But you don't have the same character work. You know, it's not. It's a different skill set, totally, honestly.
Well, yeah, I would think so. If you're doing a car commercial or something, you know, you don't have that long to study why this character is buying the car. It's not that deep, you know. What's the deep dark secret of why she needs this caravan or
No.
car or whatever? You know, is she burying a body? Does she need
Right.
transport it to the river? I don't know.
Yeah, no, we don't do that. And I'll tell you one thing that I have really had to get better on, speaking of commercials, is I've been doing a lot of spokesperson type commercials lately. And so everything is timed, and a lot of times you're reading off of a teleprompter, and you have to say all these words in, for instance, 30 seconds or 60 seconds. And wow, that's a skill set in itself.
I was going to say that seems equivalent, and correct me if I'm wrong, to maybe doing voiceover work.
Correct. 100%. Yeah. So very similar. And
because there's you have to, and I've done some voiceover work and thought it was something, just a small project I was asked to work on, and I didn't realize how difficult it was. You know, you just kind of take for granted that, you know, I'll just jump right in there, I'll give this performance, it's good, okay, maybe a second take, whatever. But when inflections and how you say a certain word, like, you know, especially if you're from the South and you've got a Southern accent and you're not supposed to have a Southern accent, you know, you have to read that out, or, you know, let's say you were doing a voiceover and they needed an English accent. That accents are all next level, you know.
Yeah,
but even in your regular, you know, the way we talk, you know, you may need to talk like you're from Boston or something like that. You know, I'm not even doing that well, you know. I'm
just gonna leave you hanging on that one. I'm not commenting.
Yeah. This is not a tryout tape.
Right. You're not auditioning for anything.
I'm not trying to right now, but
the thing that I find so interesting, and it's like you're equating it to voiceover work, and it's very similar. And I've done voiceover also, and you have to have an internal clock. you have to know what 30 seconds feels like. You have to know what 60 seconds feels like. And so you have to be able to time yourself and regulate
Yeah.
and get your beats in and regulate it to that time. You got to get it in that time frame. But a funny story about this commercial that I did recently. I know that I come across as like maybe stern. Like there's a sternness about me, I
Yes,
don't
ma'am.
know. I
Yes,
play
ma'am.
stern a lot, like I play doctors and lawyers and politicians and
Very
therapists.
strong-willed. Yeah.
I play authority figures often. And so I know that about myself. And I think it's just part of my essence. And it's not, I don't try to. But anyway, so this was supposed to be a very friendly commercial. And because of COVID, the clients were online. They weren't in the room with us. So I was in the studio with the production team and the director. Clients were being patched in. So I'm doing my thing, blah, 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 blah. And then we stopped and they said, the director said to the clients, do you have any feedback, anything? And can she try to sound a little more friendly?
You should have just had a serious face and looked at them and said, no, I cannot.
No, I can't. I mean, I was laughing so hard. Can she please try to seem a little more friendly? And I was like, oh yeah, I'm just rattling off. I'm just thinking I got to say all this stuff in 60 seconds. And,
Right.
I'm just thinking about that. And I'm just being my normal self. And so then they wanted me to say everything with like a big grin on my face. So saying all that stuff with a grin on your face, it was just a whole new ball of wax.
It's kind of like having a producer and a director inside your head.
Mm-hmm.
As you're acting, because you're like keeping yourself on time and in the right pace and everything.
That's right. And then suddenly you got to act more friendly, and your natural self isn't friendly enough.
Okay, we'll do it again, but just
yes,
more.
sir.
Yes, sir. You really want to buy this car?
Right. It was funny. I just got a big kick out of that. And now, whenever I see the commercial, I think, woo, she is a friendly girl. Look at her smile.
There's a local attorney, and I'm sure I've not met her. I'm sure she's a wonderful person, but she has these commercials, and a few of my fellow, well, I don't consider myself an actor, so a few of my actor friends, I was going to say fellow actor friends, but a few of my actor friends have been on the commercials. And I really feel for their conditions. I know they're just playing a role, but they do it so well that I'm like, I'm really invested in like, wow, this person has, carpal tunnel. God, I hope they get over their carpal tunnel. And she's like, I can help. I love the commercials. I mean, I'm not making fun of them, but it's
no.
that you bring that intensity of acting to it, and oh, I was injured on the job and I don't know if I'm going to get paid. I can help. It's like I love that. But it sometimes it's hard to. Do you find it sometimes a tendency to overact, and you have to pull it back sometimes? If it's like
I probably do that because I started out on stage and I did stage work for years and years and years and still love to do stage work. So I'm certain when I started that I was bigger. But
you have to project in the theater. You have to project.
Yeah. And you also indicate more maybe when you're on stage. I don't know, but I have had directors tell me that they would rather have to pull you back than push you forward. So, but every director's different. You can't generalize. So I don't know. I try not to. I really try not to think about my delivery in any way. Like that's not, I just try to be authentically the person and not think about what that looks like or sounds like. I don't know if that's right or wrong. I don't know. I just trust the director to tell me what I need to do to give them what they need to have.
Now you've done. I'm just looking at some of your, well, let's just say, some of your past television that you've done. You did. You played on a TV series. It's Supernatural. You did an episode of that. What was that experience like? And that
Well,
was
that was really neat because I was playing a real person,
okay.
and that's a whole new experience because, and without giving away too much, I just auditioned for another role that I was
Sure.
playing a real person. And I have done that a lot. And that is so fascinating because you don't want to you don't want to try to mimic them or mock, come off as like you're mocking them or something. But you want to try to kind of, I don't know, get to know them and then represent them properly. It's interesting. So anyway, on his
Mhm.
Supernatural, I played a real woman who is an incredible human and has had some fascinating, true supernatural experiences.
Okay.
And she wrote about them, and she's got film. She's got footage of it. And so then we did that, and yeah, it was powerful. I really enjoyed it. And in fact, there was a couple of people on the crew that knew her in real life
Oh wow.
and said, and that was neat. And then they said that I was, getting it right. But I don't take any credit for that. I think that was just good casting because I didn't know her and I didn't study a whole lot about it. And I mean, I studied some, but you
But
know,
you had to give a good performance. You've had your talent shown through. So
well,
okay.
thank you. But it was interesting because, like I say, and I think so much of it is about casting and them getting the right people. And I think there
Mhm.
was there's a sense of her. Her name is Carol. There's a sense of her. We have a similar, I don't know, maybe vibe or energy or something like
Right.
that. So that was just good casting. I was lucky in that regard.
What about You Can't Take My Daughter? It's a 2020 TV movie. You played
Mhm.
lawyer number two. Here we go. You playing a lawyer, another powerful
Yeah.
person. What was that experience like?
Well, I loved that experience because, well, I loved it for a lot of reasons. One is because, well, I got to work with some pretty incredible people, including Kirstie Alley, who is, you
Oh,
know, I mean, she's pretty awesome.
yeah.
And it was a Lifetime television movie. And and I worked with a really great director, a really great production team. This was right pre-COVID, so I'm telling you that we had all the bells and whistles, man. I mean, it was like big time, big. I mean, I don't mean to jump right to crafty at the very first thing, but huge crafty and great trailers and
Everybody loves Crafty.
everybody loves crafty.
Crafty can save your life on
Yes, it
set.
can. Absolutely. And just, lots of fun in the holding rooms. And
Oh yeah.
yeah, it was a great experience. I was glad to get that under my belt right before COVID started because that had all the bells and whistles, and it was fabulous. Not to mention the fact that
Mhm.
it's a true story, and it is an incredible and truly horrifying true story. And
Right.
it's almost in the vein of Aaron Brockovich insofar as there's this one woman who was wronged and she fought the system and brought about change in a
Awesome.
big way across the nation and changed the laws. And I'm friends on social media with the true woman who
That's awesome.
this was written about. And boy, there's no story that I like better than a strong woman that finds her voice and makes changes, man. I'm telling you, I was very honored to be part of that storytelling. That's a really important story that needed to be told.
And probably couldn't find a better person to portray it. And to,
Well, thank you. Thank you.
uh,
I will say that the role that I played in that was an interesting one because she's trying to change the laws. She was coming to us, to my law firm, to seek help. And we are like, okay, listen, we hear you and we know that the laws are messed up, but that's status quo and we're not interested in.
sorry, ma'am, can't help
Yeah,
you.
that's it.
That's just how it is.
That's just how it is. That's what's written on the books. And,
And
tally ho.
your
Go
character,
on your
I
way.
mean, your character was like, I'm not having that, right?
That's it. Ah,
That's
man.
that's change. That's how things, that's how we move forward in this world. It's the little everyday heroes, I think, that really make the changes in a lot of ways. And
Me too. And those are the story. I really do. I mean, honestly, that's what I love the very most about my job is the storytelling. And when I'm blessed to be able to tell a story that's that important in some small way, to be part of the storytelling of something that important, nothing feels better, honestly.
well, we're getting close to wrapping up the radio portion here of the show, so I want to pick your brain here and take I'll need you to take everybody to class now.
Oh Lord.
and give some advice to the young girl who's thinking about starting a film career and she's wondering, can I be a good actress? Do I have what it takes? What would you, if she walked up to you today on the street and said, I saw you in this Lifetime channel movie or whatever, I saw you on this commercial. How can I get in the industry? What should I do? What would you say?
Yeah. That's interesting because somebody just hit me up on social media recently with exactly that question. And by recently, I mean yesterday. So that's interesting. Well, first off, is I feel like craft can be learned, and it is a craft. I do think that there is a element of art, obviously, and talent. But I think at the end of the day, at the very basic level, it's a craft. And so I would say start by studying the craft of it, like the nuts and bolts. Don't worry about whether, there's a muse sitting on your shoulder or the lights are shining upon you just right or all the stars are in line or any of that woo-woo. I mean, just get to the craft, study the craft. And that's where I would start. I would also say it's very important to figure out what kind of type person that you are and study people that are similar. The roles that they choose, become an IMDb expert. Look at find out the types that you want to be, the types that you are, study their filmography, watch all the films they're in, look at the choices they make, break it down. And then I would say study, study, study. And there are so many opportunities now to study with so many different people. And get on social media, man. Do your work.
And just because we're in lockdown, it actually probably gave people more time to work on their craft, right? More time to study. Yes.
Oh, there are a couple of teachers that I've been taken with recently that as a little kid from the South, I would have never dreamed that I would be able to be one-on-one, even through technology, with somebody of that caliber. Right. And it's just mind-blowing that that's available to us now. So jump on it. I mean, honestly, now's as good a time as any, if not better, to start.
And
and I also want to say, Ed, and I always have to say this, it's never too late and you're never too old. So jump in wherever you are.
That is a beautifully perfect way to end this portion for the radio of this video. And Langley, you are a fine example of determination, hard work, perseverance, and just a beautiful soul of a person. And
thank you.
I want to thank you for joining us here on Savannah on Film. And if you're listening to this on the radio now, come on over to YouTube and check out the video version of this. And we'll have a little bit extra content over on YouTube at Savannah on Film. And if you're wondering where you can find out more about my guest here, actor Langley Cornwell, it is at imdb.me/Langley Cornwell. Okay, I got it right.
That's it. You got it right, baby. Thank you.
And that's an easy one. I have the same kind of link, but I forget it. I always forget that dot. And anyway, so we're going to end this for the radio portion, and then we'll see you on YouTube with the rest of it. So I'm just going to roll the outro here. And thank you very much, Langley, for being with me here today on Savannah on Film. And I want everybody to check this lady out, check her work out, and really give her some love, because she really deserves it for being such a hardworking, wonderful actress, one of the best in the whole Southeast, and certainly one of my favorites. Like I said, anytime you're in something, I want to see it. If I see your name, I'm like, I got to see it. You have that star power. So, and it's only getting brighter. So, thank you, Langley, and everybody. We'll see you later here on Savannah on Film. All right, bye-bye. You have been listening to another episode of Savannah on Film, where we give a voice to the Savannah film community. Please like our Facebook page, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and follow us on Twitter. This program was originally broadcast on 107.5 FM in Savannah, Georgia, and worldwide on www.wruu.org. Join us next time for more intriguing insights into the vibrant Savannah film community here at Savannah on Film. And we are back here on Savannah on Film. I'm your host, Ed Ciucevich, and we're here talking with awesome actress Langley Cornwell. Hey Langley, welcome back, and thanks for joining us here on YouTube at Savannah on Film. If you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, I strongly encourage you to do so. We do appreciate it. And click that little thumbs up on this video if you're enjoying this content, and I'm sure you will. Hopefully you've already, at this point, been asking your questions and posting your comments to Langley and myself. We really welcome that interaction. So this is your chance to ask those questions. And Langley was giving some great information of what she would tell someone who was starting out in the industry. And you can find Langley on imdb.me/Langley Cornwell if you want to see a list of her achievements. And we were talking about, I want to talk some more about one of the TV shows you mentioned, TV series where you play Dr. Laney on the Urbans. So let's chat a little bit about that. What's your experiences with the Urbans?
Well, it's probably one of the most fun projects, only because the character is so zany. She is.
I love it.
Yeah, I do too. She's kind of a nut. But she takes herself very seriously, and she earnestly wants to help her patients. She is a mobile psychiatrist, so she will come to you. You don't have to come into her office.
What a wonderful idea. What a wonderful idea.
Yeah. And as you can imagine, she gets herself into some pretty crazy situations because of that setup. So yeah, it's fun. We've done several episodes, and I love the cast. And yeah, I love everything about that one.
So, what network can people see this on? Where's
It's
it available?
it's it's on a lot of networks. They're in negotiations with BET right
Okay.
now.
Awesome.
It Yeah, it is one of the things that I think is such a big selling point for the Urbans is it is based in Atlanta, and much like um, Sex and the City, New York was part of the characters, or for instance, The Wire, Baltimore was part of a character. You
Council
know,
of Dads that was filmed here. Savannah
right,
was a
right,
central part of that
sure.
series.
So the Urbans is very Atlanta centric.
Okay.
And as such, they have some of the best comedians that are big shots on the Atlanta comedian circuit
Mhm.
as part of the show. And it's one of the ways that they position it, and the way that critics are pigeonholing it is they're calling it intelligent humor, because it is zany, but in it's kind of like, well, I mean,
It's not what you'd expect.
no, it's not at all what you would expect. And I was going to say a little bit like Seinfeld. I know that the filmmakers
Mhm.
are avid Seinfeld fans.
It's hard not to be.
Yeah, I know, right? I agree. But there's a flavor of that.
A little bit of, well, it makes me think of Larry David, who obviously created
Oh,
Seinfeld, and
what a
his
genius! Yeah.
Curb Your Enthusiasm is probably one of my favorite shows, just because I'm so shocked, like some of the things that they say and how
Oh,
they
it's
interact,
brilliant.
you know. So a little
Mhm.
bit, I get the zaniness part of
Yeah, yeah, it's zany like that, but it's intelligent.
it. Right.
It's so well written. I'm telling, every time I get a script and I read it, I laugh, usually out loud at least once.
That's a very good sign, isn't it?
It is. It's remarkable. I'm telling you, there was a scene in this last episode,
Hmm.
and fortunately, I got all the jokes. And it was, I mean, I got to deliver all the jokes. And the guy who plays like the other main character, he it our timing is very important, as in all comedy. And it was just like boom, boom, boom,
Like
boom,
ping
boom.
pong.
It was just like that. It was just like that. And it was so exhilarating to do, and to
Mhm.
be working with an actor like that. And just, you shoot it over the net, and then he shoots it right back, and then you shoot it and he shoots it.
Right.
And it's exhilarating. I mean, it's like it's an adrenaline rush.
Um, so you filmed this in Atlanta. Is that correct?
Correct.
How is filming in Atlanta different than Savannah? Because there is a difference.
Sure.
Um,
One of the things I'll say from just the projects I've been on so far is most everything that I've done in Atlanta is more fast paced. Like, we clip along really
Right.
fast in Atlanta. I would say that I do probably 80% of my work in Atlanta. Maybe even more than that. And like most of my work I do in Atlanta. And there seems to be the ones that I've done in Savannah so far, there seems to be like it just seems to be a little more relaxed.
Yeah, we're a little more laid back.
Yeah, I say so. I mean, it's
The
just
flavor of
equally as
Savannah.
professional. So it's not
Right.
I'm not trying to say that,
You're not,
but
yeah.
just, yeah,
It's
just a
just a
little,
different. It's a different way we
it's a
approach
different
things.
vibe. I think so.
I had a back when I was in film school. We were told years ago. We were told about John Gracie at Savannah Tech. He was a great person. He is a great person. But he told us, coming from New Mexico and then dealing with some people that were from New York and from LA, and they move at a different speed,
Oh yeah.
And he's like, when he first came to like this area, and he's like, I had to realize that my tone through an email might be taken, because you could be abrupt, and this just how people are, and they don't mean it in a mean way. They're just, business like business. And
But
in the
Ed, I'm
South, when
very
you come to
used
the
to
South,
that.
I'm sorry.
I said I'm very used to that, and I don't know
Right.
if you know this, but I lived in New York City for a long time
It-
and worked in New York a lot. So at a time in my career.
yeah.
So I feel like I personally can be a little more abrupt than, even though I'm born in the South and clearly a Southerner, but I
Yeah.
personally can be, clippy and abrupt and,
And
like
some
right to
people may
the,
take that as you being forceful or being
Mhm.
mean, as we talked about earlier in
Yeah, for
the
sure.
last hour. But like when you were on the Urbans, you got to show that lighthearted self, part of
Yeah.
yourself, that zaniness that's there. You're not always super serious.
And I like that because I can get, I can't, I mean, like we have discussed, I do play the lawyers and the doctors and the politicians and things like that, the authority
Right.
figure. But my personal self, me as a human, I'm silly and zany and all of that. But it might not be the first thing that you think of when you first meet me. So yeah, so that's why I like this character. And I like this character also because she is both. Like when she is trying to perform her professional duties as a therapist, she takes that very seriously. I mean, that is her life's work. But she gets herself into these crazy jams, and her way of thinking and getting out of these situations is really very funny.
Um, you do have a show in a project in development, right about me. Is that, can we talk about that, or are you able
Yeah, a
to
little
talk about
bit.
that?
It's the I mean, that's fun, and there's not much to say about it. It's already shot, and I don't know,
Okay.
how post goes. You never know when it's going to come
Right.
out. But I did like it because I played I mean, well, first off, my wardrobe the whole time was a bathrobe, so that's pretty great because I'm used to being in suits,
That's good.
and I was drinking and smoking the whole time. So I was a abusive mother.
Oh wow.
I know. It was heavy. It was pretty heavy. I had to say some pretty despicable things to the girl that played my daughter.
And you probably, in between takes, you probably gave her a hug.
I know, I
You know,
wanted to, I know, I
I'm
wanted,
sorry.
oh,
I don't really mean this.
I know, I know. But if I'm good at my job,
That's funny if you're good at
I
you.
made her feel bad. Yeah.
She sees you on the street, she might walk the other
I
way.
know exactly. I'll have to hide from her.
Yeah. And so I know we've met through being on several productions together in the past on the 48-hour film project, which is always a blast.
Sure.
And one of my favorite performances of yours was a psychiatrist in Indeed,
Yeah. Yeah.
um, which won a slew of awards,
Mhm.
and such a talented group of people. I mean, I
Oh,
can't
yeah.
everybody. It's so many people involved in that, and we had our little clique. I think we did about 3 or 4 films together there.
That was fun.
And it was a
And
lot
then you
of
got
fun.
to be such a big shot. You left us.
Well, I don't know that I was a big shot, but we all
I'm
have our
teasing
level.
you. I'm teasing you, but I will say, Ed, you are one of the best sound guys I've worked with.
Wow, thank you. I
You're
appreciate
great
that.
at that. You're great at that.
Well, I have, and I've had to pivot a little bit in 2020. We kind of touched on it in the last hour. I'm doing something that's totally different. Can't talk about it. Probably can
Mhm.
never talk about it. But I have found a new passion, and I think 2020. What I started out my film career as
Mhm.
hasn't always been exactly what I thought. Actually, it's been nothing like what I've thought.
Yeah,
It
that's the way
started
life
out
is,
that way,
right?
and it's like, this is my goal. I'm driven. I'm so focused on this, and then out of the blue, here's a tangent, and I'm like, well, that's interesting,
Mhm.
and then that led to something else, and then before you know it, I'm like, well, but I was going to do this over there. Oh,
Mhm.
okay, but I'm loving this, and we go through different seasons in our lives, and and that's what's wonderful, and it's like in you portraying a character, you get to portray the zany, you get to portray the serious, you get to portray, all different types. It's kind of like, it feels like acting in a way, because it's like
Yeah.
those experiences, and there's certain things you say no to, a person says no to, but there's certain things you have to say yes to.
Mhm.
And this was something I was fortunate, because I mean, I'm going to be totally blunt, honest here. 2020 hit me like a Mack truck, like it hit a
Yeah.
lot of people. And, on a personal level, anxiety level, I developed a lot of anxiety over it. There were productions that I knew it wasn't safe, because I follow the science, I follow the numbers,
Mhm.
and I'm like, I don't feel comfortable. That gut's telling me, no, I'm not feeling too comfortable right now to be on this production. And so I'm sorry. I don't think we're there yet, because I have family. I have to keep safe. I have to keep my
Right.
kids
I
safe. I have
completely
to think,
understand that.
you have to think about number one, and that's not being selfish. That's being smart,
Mhm.
but I'm also thinking of others, and trying to do my part, and still trying to do that. But 2021 rolled around with a fantastic opportunity, and there's nothing like scaring yourself to death thinking, can I ever possibly do this?
Mhm.
Like what I'm doing, I walked in kind of terrified to it. It's like doing the radio show here that I do. I kind of walked in terrified. Like before episodes, I'll be terrified. I'll get that bit of anxiety, and then
Mhm.
once we start rolling, I'm good.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
you had this. Why are you worrying so much? But the whole story of this is new, taking on new things, in
Mhm.
different directions. Don't be afraid to be open. And I think you touched on that a little bit, talking with some of your advice, and being an actor,
Mhm.
you got to be open to different types of roles. You don't want to get typecast as a certain type of person.
Right.
You may be that person that, if I see Kelsey Grammer, I'm going to think of Fraser Crane first and foremost. But I know he's talented beyond playing Fraser Crane. That's
Yeah.
just an example. Jerry Seinfeld, I'm going to think of a comedian,
Mhm.
a comedic role, but I know he could probably do something more. But it's different. So we worked on the 48, and we
Mhm.
had a lot of time with that. Is of all the 48-hour films you've done, is there a particular character that, out of any of those, that was your favorite, or
Hmm.
are you don't have to answer that if you're not comfortable?
No, I would answer it if I had an answer. Um,
Fair enough.
yeah, hmm, I liked the therapist, and Indeed,
I
I like the
I
lady
in
in Cello.
Hello.
I thought,
Yeah.
she was interesting.
That's true. It's
No,
just how
I
well
don't
the
have a
part.
favorite. I don't have a favorite in those.
That's fair.
Um, I like the challenge of those because I love, I mean, I'm kind of an adrenaline junkie, and I love the challenge of putting a fully formed character and a full script, and with all of the bells and whistles all together in 48 hours, and then tying it up in a nice little bow and submitting it. I think that is just fun. And sadly, we didn't have one this past year because of COVID,
Right. And
but that makes sense. But I wouldn't say for those I have a favorite character, because they're just so down and dirty. It's just a boom, boom, boom.
boom, right, right.
So I'm just doing my thing.
Some of the later ones, because there were some serious ones, and then I liked, like when we got to Cello, it was that seemed to be the year everybody went kind of dark.
Yeah, I
So,
agree. It's weird how everybody kind of went dark that
and
year.
it was very interesting. And I guess this would have been 2018, I imagine, or 2019. I don't know. 29.
Mm.
I can't. Obviously, it
Yeah,
feels like a lifetime ago.
yeah, right. It's so true, because so much has happened since then and now.
Yeah, you know. But we keep going forward with stuff, and you did get part of, I didn't mention this, 2018 for Indeed. Best Ensemble Cast was a nominee, the Jury Award in the SSU, Savannah State University Indie Film Festival. So that's
And
pretty
that is
cool.
one thing, Ed, it's kind of like what you said about how we work together as a team for so many years. It is, and I think that I like that anyway. I'm a relationship kind of person. And I think that's what I miss about doing theater is you have your cast and
Especially if you have a long run on.
right, you have a long
Yeah.
run, and so you're working with the same people over and over. So you develop really some deep-seated relationships. But that's what I liked about us having our team for the 48, because kind of the same thing. You know, we were working with the same people. Now, perhaps it was just once a year, but still yet, you know, we were all in it together. We were all pushing in the same direction. And so we developed that camaraderie. And then I think it showed when we got Best Ensemble, because we were a good ensemble by then.
Definitely. You know, everybody in front of and behind the camera, it was just a great experience. One of my favorite experiences working with, and maybe in the future, who knows?
Yeah, who knows? We don't have any idea what's
Never
happening.
know. And so I know you've got to go, and I'm not
do.
going to rush you out the door here, but you've got a prior commitment you got to get to, and I respect that because, you know, it's snap, snap, go, go. We got, you know, on to the next thing, and I understand that. But anyway, I want to thank you so much, Langley. Thank you to everybody who's commented and watched this video from beginning to end. Please subscribe to the channel. Give a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. We appreciate it so much here on Savannah on Film. Please tell all your friends about Savannah on Film. It's just, we want to have more interesting guests. We're on Facebook, Savannah on Film. If you want to hit us up there, and if you're interested in maybe being on the show, I'd probably love to talk to you. If you're in the industry and you can bring a different wonderful angle, and you've got a tall Langley set a tall
Oh, come on.
for being on the show. So and she sets that high hurdle and always exceeds it. So you're one of my favorite people, Langley. And
thank you, Ed. The feeling is mutual.
Thank you. And so this is Langley Cornwell. If you want to, and I'm going to look at it so I don't mess it up. It's simple. If you want to see where her work is listed, it's at imdb.me/Langley Cornwell. And so I'm gonna, I guess I'll play a little outro here, and then we'll call it a day on the video and this episode. And thank you everybody for listening to Savannah on Film. I'm Ed Ciucevich, and Langley, thank you once again. Continued success and prayers for happy, healthy 2021.
Thank you.
As the dogs roll in.
And now my person's coming to take me for an audition. So
okay, well let me roll out with the outro here, and then we'll see everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Ed. Bye.
Bye. You have been listening to another episode of Savannah on Film, where we give a voice to the Savannah film community. Please like our Facebook page, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and follow us on Twitter. This program was originally broadcast on 107.5 FM in Savannah, Georgia, and worldwide on www.wruu.org. Join us next time for more intriguing insights into the vibrant Savannah film community here at Savannah on Film.